Hey, it's Mazzy. Thank you, Joey. You know who you are. It's the Music Stupid number 51. 5 albums that I pulled to showcase about It's the Music Stupid. The music comes first. I think I have a nice variety here, maybe. It's for you to decide, not me. But I love these records. I'm going to start out with the debut record, 1969, Pretties for You, Alice Cooper. This is my favorite cover of an Alice Cooper record. It's more the artsy side. This apparently was a painting that Frank Zappa had up in the house. Alice Cooper. This is when Alice Cooper was the band, not the person. Yes, their later records are more commercial, more hooks. I love that stuff too. But something about this album has always appealed to me because it's such a psychedelic, somewhat avant excursion, not far off from what the Mothers of Inventions were doing. But there's some great guitar playing, vignettes. There's an overture, sort of a neoclassical overture that opens up the record and goes into some, there's some hooks and some little pop vignettes throughout the album, but some really kind of esoteric, angular organ bits and moments of brilliance and craziness, wackiness. I just played this in a car recently, and I just got mesmerized by it. I forgot how much I love this record. The 1969 debut, Alice Cooper, the band, when they're more like the Mothers of Invention than the harder rock, hook-based band they became. Love that too, but I think this is something really special. So 1969's Alice Cooper's debut, Pretties for You, on Bizarre Records, which is part of the whole Warner Reprise series of labels at this point. And beautiful painting on the cover. I love that. Next, something a little different. This is from 2003, and this is Josh Rouse's 1972. He's a singer-songwriter that I think after this album after this he did was called Nashville. Him and his new wife moved to Spain for a while. But what's brilliant about this album, I fell in love with this album when I got it on CD in 2003, and then I think about 12 years ago I got it on vinyl, and this is on Yep Rock. This is written by a songwriter who emulates what singer-songwriting albums, what music was in the early 70s. I mean, that's my, wheelhouse in terms of growing up. 1972, I was 18 years old, and Josh Rouse was born in 1972, so that's kind of where this album comes from and starts off. The opening track, 1972, really opens up talking about Carole King's Tapestry album. And the sound of this is like Tapestry and James Taylor records and Jonathan Edwards records, that singer-songwriter thing that was very popular, very West Coast sound for the most part, but again, mixed with some East Coast things too. But just great hooks, great songs, in a way, sort of a folk-based soft rock album, if you will, but such a great album. And I think there's a little bit of a bossa nova thing in here. It's really a mix, and it could be like the band America, or the first album of America again, or James Taylor. And there's a plethora of artists that that put out records like this in 1972. But a fantastic record, 1972. It's him writing as if he was putting out a record in the early 70s. Josh Rouse, 1972. An album first came out in 2003. Next is the debut solo album by Nils Lofgren. Now, Nils Lofgren was a co-creator with his brother of the band Grin. They had, I think, 2 or 3 records out. I have them in my collection. And then he does this fantastic record. You know him later because he became a member of the E Street Band. He's been with them for many decades at this point. But his records on A&M are fantastic, and he came this close of really making it big. But this album, Cry Tough is another one. Cry Tough on A&M Records. Get that record because it's an amazing sounding record. Yeah, I'm talking about the music here. You, music, me, music. But it's still a great sounding record. And I go back and forth which one I like better. But get them all. I think they're inexpensive. What a great guitar player. Short guy. I saw him live around this time. He would do backward somersaults while he's playing his Stratocaster guitar. And it worked so well. On this record, it's rock and roll with a hook. Around this time, A&M did a couple years later put out a live radio limited release. I think I've showed here at some point of him live. And they never put that record out. Some radio stations like KSAN here on the West Coast in San Francisco played that record to death. And it could have been like what A&M did for Peter Frampton with Frampton Comes Alive. And they finally, a year or two too late, by that point, we're entrenched in punk and new wave and things, put out a live album. And it didn't click like Frampton at all. But this is a fantastic record. There's a song on here, Keith Don't Go, the Ode to the Glimmer Twins, definitely about Keith Richard and Mick Jagger and the Rolling Stones. He does a great cover in here, Going Back. The Byrds covered that song, Carole King and Goffin record that he covers beautifully. This is a great sounding record, great songwriting. Back it up. The second song on here is the killer song that should have been a major hit. Nils Lofgren, the self-titled album, his debut solo album on A&M Records. Fantastic record. Find it in your stores. It's pretty cheap. Next, a band that I kind of missed seeing live initially in San Francisco. They came out of the San Francisco scene, and this is the Brian Jones Massacre. And this is what a great concept. Just the name, Brian Jones Massacre, Brian Jonestown Massacre. If you understand the joke here, obviously Brian Jones from the Rolling Stones. Jonestown Massacre is that cult out of the Bay Area. They had a place in San Francisco, the whole cult thing that happened with the Kool-Aid. Won't get into that, but if you don't know the story, seek it out. It's a bizarre, strange, horrible story, really, about a cult and its disciples drinking the Kool-Aid, literally, and committing suicide, massive suicide. The album, though, also, their Satanic Majesty's Second Request. This is actually a masterpiece. This is a wonderful record. This is their best record. They have, 7, 8, 9 records. But I think this is the best record. It's got a neo-psychedelic folk thing to it. It's somewhat conceptual. Again, indie, early, would this come out in 2011, I think, maybe? No, that's when this record came out. I don't remember when this record came out. I think it's in the 2000s. Was it 99 or 2000? Anyway, this is a wonderful record. I didn't get into this till like 10 years after it came out. And I miss them completely, never saw them live. They're still together. The last couple of records they put out are excellent records. There's someone worth checking out. But, yeah, 2011, I think. Yep. Anyway, fantastic record. Brian Jonestown Massacre, their Satanic Majesty's Second Request. You see what they did here. This is a really good record, and it's really rewarding multiple plays on this record because there's so much going on this record. Fantastic. And lastly, something completely different. A record I fell in love with many, many years ago, and unfortunately, you can't even get this now. This is a Light in the Attic reissue that came out about a decade ago. This album was originally released in 1959. I love the sound of brothers, harmony vocals, brotherly vocals, like the Everly Brothers, and in this case, the Lofgren Brothers. Great country, gospel, Christian harmony. They made great, amazing records. Satan is Real, the Lofgren Brothers. I mean, you can't argue how great this cover is. It's country music, gospel, country gospel. Really well recorded. Great songs like Satan is Real, There's a Higher Power, The Christian Life. You know, who really I got turned on to the Lofgren Brothers was because of Graham Parsons and him bringing the Lofgren Brothers sound to the Byrds and Sweetheart of the Rodeo. But this is a wonderful record. I think Light in the Attic no longer has the licensing for it. There's some cheap-ass knockoffs of it. I mean, originals go for a lot of money, and they probably don't sound any better than this. So if Light in the Attic, if you're watching, Matt, can you repress this? Now, they also did a great comp also, which I'm not going to pull it right now, but they did a great comp of different artists picking the best Lofgren Brothers records. A lot of contemporary kind of indie Americana artists pulling songs. That's a fantastic comp as well. Also, Angels Rejoice Last Night, I'm Ready to Go Home, The Drunken's Doom, Satan's Jeweled Crown, Are You Afraid to Die? I mean, this is the real deal. Graham Parsons was totally spot on when he was attracted to this music, bringing it to the Byrds and bringing it to younger folks like me in 1968. But it took many decades for me to really listen to a Lofgren Brothers record. But these great Christian brotherly harmonies, I love this stuff. You know, I may not be a religious person, but I friggin' love gospel music, and especially country gospel music. So that's it. It's the Music Stupid number 51. Thanks for watching, and put your comments below. Do all the great things. It's the Music Stupid. Mazzy loves you.